It is a brand new day. I hope you can hear me. Yesterday we had some glitches in our matrix and we were not clear. We had some interference. That was not cool. Prayerfully, it's a brand new day. And with that being said, welcome to the Morning Stretch podcast, folks. I'm your relationship coach, Essence. I I am so excited to be here today. I just decided to pop in. It is not my usual bat time and bat channel. However, I felt it was necessary. Oh, excuse me. I felt it was necessary to chime in because we've been discussing co-parenting this week, and it's been quite challenging discussing it, not just because it's a topic that hits close to home. I am a parent, if you did not know. And it's not just that, it's listening to the stories and feeling the angst and the emotion of those who join. We have a wonderful community here at the Morning Stretch podcast. Everyone is loving and they endeavor to be as transparent as possible. And I know that's not easy sometimes. So myself as well as producer T, we listen with our hearts and our ears and minds being open. We are receptive to new information, and our heart goes out to each and every one of you that has been along with us for this ride. It has been a ride. Emotional, it's not a roller coaster, it's just a wave. And so much that at the beginning of the week, happy Thursday, by the way, at the beginning of the week, we had that open forum where, hey, if you just wanted to talk about what was most pressing to you, what's going on in your world, we do provide that outlet for those who need to express themselves. You come here, you don't get any judgment, you can speak your mind, say your piece, and in return, we hope that we are able to provide you with some insight that allows you to have peace within yourselves. That is the goal. And we did that at the beginning of the week, and I discovered that, you know what, if we just stay in the zone of the things that gripe, the things that are concerning to us mostly, it's healthy to do so, but you can't stay there because it just generates all kinds of feelings of turmoil and you forget the focal point. In this particular topic, we are discussing the upside of co-parenting. We're talking about the upside because we know that co parenting can present many, many challenges. And we know also that we cannot control the actions of another. We can only maintain ourselves. So I sort of shifted the direction off of here's what's not working, here's what's problematic, here's what I've been struggling with, here's what I hate or loathe, and things of that nature. Good, get it out, vent it. And now we're going to shift that energy onto the things that we are able to, what can we control? What can we do about what's going on? And I suggested that the focal point be shifted onto ourselves. We cannot control the actions of another, but we certainly can control the actions of ourselves. We can do our very best to show up in the most healthy, balanced, and stable, grounded position, which absolutely benefits the well being of our children. So we discussed that yesterday. I created a cheat sheet for those who missed the live because for some odd reason, still Instagram is not allowing me to post recaps. So if you aren't able to tune in through IG for the live, don't sweat it because I am on Facebook. That is the joys of multi streaming. I am on Facebook, folks, and I'm also on YouTube as to date. I think I've been streaming from YouTube for the last few days. So you can catch the show and fast forward to your parts that are most relevant to you or watch the entire segment if that's what you prefer. I am at HOTMCONYC. Don't worry, you don't have to commit that to memory. I will send a post to each and every one of you. So the people who are used to coming in just to catch the recaps because they can't get here in the morning, I haven't been able to upload anything in the last 2 weeks. So go figure. Also, I've been having some streaming issues. There's lots of technical difficulties going on, folks, but I do my best to make sure that I show up and that I provide you with some value, some content. Even if I do get booted off or the sound isn't great, please continue to bear with me. Your presence, your engagement is always welcomed, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. So, with that being said, I did create a cheat sheet for you. For some reason, I can upload graphics and other things, just can't upload videos for some reason. We talked about some things, some areas in your life that can use some fine tuning. Because once we take our attention off of what the problem is, we are able to see a solution. And a solution always draws us back to ourselves. What can we do? Here's where we have our control. We control ourselves. Yes, we control ourselves. I'm watching this insect that's I mean, you name it, folks. First, I didn't have any coffee. And I'm suffering from allergies. I am not a seasonal allergy person, but I feel my face feels so heavy and I feel super congested. But you know what? I am alive. And you know, each morning I begin every single segment as far back as I can remember with acknowledging how important having life is. Life is so bountiful. And sometimes we may not be able to recognize that or we forget because we're so used to just driving through, doing what's expedient of us. We got to get it done. We got to get it done, especially if you're parents. You have lots of things on your to do list, endless to do list. Even if you aren't a parent, there's always things you have to do, places you have to be. And you just hop up out of the bed and your mind begins to click on to the channel that it left off previously the day before. So whatever you were unhappy with then, you're likely to begin that same trail. You forget to acknowledge how great life is, how wonderful it is to be alive. Because everyone isn't afforded that every single day. You know that the life cycle is you live and then you don't, right? You transition on to another phase of life, of living. So if you are fortunate enough, and I use that word emphatically, fortunate enough to wake up another day, you get to choose how you live in that day. Start it off by expressing your gratitude to your creator because if it were not for him and his son, you wouldn't be here. So, despite whatever's going on that's not fancy, that's not pretty, that's not perfect, you have life. You can always seek out what's lively, what's beautiful, what's pretty. You can choose to focus your attention upon things that actually serve you. And if you are a huge spiritually inclined person, I understand that maybe it's time to start seeking. Because I know as a human, we tend to feel like we have to rely on ourselves for everything. Something goes wrong, the first thing we think about is who can we call? We don't say, let's go to God. I should pray. I am pissed right now. The first thing on my agenda is to pray. That almost never happens, right? And I'm using this kind of language with you loosely because I want you to start believing in the powers that you have. I want you to start leaning upon a great support system that you have. Now, you may not be a Christian or a Catholic or a Buddhist. I'm not here to tell you who you should believe in that particular facet. That is based on your individual preferences. I do not hide mine. So if you me talking about God irritates you or you just feel like no, that's not my cup of tea, well, you have a choice. We're going to use our God-given free will and say if this is the place for me or this is not the place for me. I no love lost to any of you who decide that. For those who are like, hey, this is right up my alley, okay, stay tuned because this is why, despite my heavy seasonal, newly found allergies and all of the technical glitches, I still somehow hear some faint buzzing in the background. And I don't know if Instagram is going to kick me off again. But while I am here in this red hot moment, I'm grateful to be able to be present, to connect with you, to share some profound insights. I mean, 3 o'clock this morning, I should have been asleep, but for some reason, I feel like God woke me up just so I can share these things with you because normally 3 a.m., I'm knocked out. I mean, like, there's no reason. I don't even get up to go to the bathroom at that time. But for some reason, I was awakened and I started feeling like I started shifting and sorting inside of my bed. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And while I was still, because I've learned when those things happen out of the ordinary, there's definitely a profound reason. So I was still and I listened and peace came about. And if you didn't know, a few weeks ago, I did a segment about peace, its significance, what it means to you, and how to cultivate it, keep it going inside of you. And I said, you know what? my mind said, my spirit said, go to scripture, right? And I did. And the very first segment that I was prefaced to was about peace. And I know during this topic this week, lots of unease was stirred up. We talked about the things that were painful, our struggles, our battles, when all we want to do is be loving parents. And as I said in the beginning of the show, I'm aware of the contention, but we cannot focus upon that. It will serve you in a greater capacity to focus on what is beautiful, what is working, what is holy, what is lovely, what is pure. You do have a choice in that. You may not be able to control the actions of your other parent that is with you, not cooperating. I want to say politely. I was going to say something else, but you you know you can't control the actions of the other parent, and it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and you wish you would just stop and go away. However, as long as you focus upon that, you are forgetting that God is at the helm. And you would like to think like, well, I know I'm not here to suffer, so why is God allowing me to go through these things? Today I'm going to share with you some scripture based things, some themes, some points of reference to shield you, to protect you, to remind you that you are loved and that you aren't alone, not just by me being here saying it to you, because yes, that is also a form of support. I consider each and every one of you a part of my world because you have shared so much with me about yourselves. So you have have become important to me, excuse me, and I care about your well-being. I do not want any of us walking away from this week's topic feeling like there's just no hope and you've just given up and it's just going to be this way for the rest of your life and you are alone. None of those things are true. None of those things are true. And if it's not enough that I share my sentiments with you or my backstory or even just my agenda for you, which is your well being abound, of course, but I'm going to take it back to the books, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to refer to you some scriptures that have helped me. These are the very scriptures that I was awakened by this morning at 3 a.m. And again, that's such an odd thing for me because I'm usually asleep. I said, this is what I'm supposed to bring to my ladies and gentlemen for the show in the morning. And I am here doing that. Okay. So just stay with me. Good morning, Couple Beasts. Good morning, DJ Dispatch. Good morning, Nell. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Green Label. All of you, I am so pleased that you are alive. God has given you another day that is certainly worth celebrating, that is worth rejoicing, because everyone is not afforded life. And being a human being, especially in the world that we live in right now, there's lots of things, right? I'm just going to label it that for the moment. There are lots of things that are going on that could literally, if you don't remain grounded, if you don't remember who your creator is, if you don't have faith in what is going on, that although it is turmoil out there, you have to believe that all of this is going to work out for the greater good of all. It always does. In the meantime, yes, it's going to look like chaos. It's going to look like destruction. It's going to look like all kinds of things that are undesirable and you may not understand why, which brings me to a young lady that I follow on Instagram. Her name is Kina. Shout out to Kina. She every so often posts something of the inspirational sort, and I thought it'd be helpful if I shared this with you because I felt it was just really relative to the things we've been discussing this week. So I don't know if you know who Nietzsche is. It's one of those great philosophers of of American history. Really talented dude. Of course, he passed away. It was hundreds of years ago, but he often quoted mostly about his spiritual connection to life as well as to his creator. So one of his quotes says, "He who has a why to live for can bear with almost any how." And I thought that was interesting. So, in other words, if you know your purpose, you know why you are here, you know you weren't created for just nothing at all, then no matter what shows up, you can bear it. And here's the thing about spirituality, no matter what dominion, whether, like I say, Christianity or Catholicism, it's entirely up to you. But trust is paramount inside of spirituality, because it means you know that there is a purpose greater than yourself. You know that there is a reason you've been created. You know you did not create yourself. Your parents gave birth to you. They created you in that sense of the word. However, before that and before that and before that, who created the entire sphere of things? And when you focus your attention on those things, everything else in the background seems to just be that. It becomes muted. And who trusts in your creator? She said. She said, who trusts in him can bear with almost any how or what, even though he does not know the why. So I felt that that was so like insightful, because no one asked for discord. You didn't know 20 years ago you would be a parent and you would have problems with your co parenting. You didn't know that. You didn't know what kind of children you would have, or what their genders would be, or what their preferences are. You didn't have a magic crystal globe that showed you everything 10, 20, 30 years ahead. You were off living your life the way you were doing it at that time, and lots of things showed up. And here's the thing about life, though: you know what you have, but you never know what you're going to get. You don't know what's coming, you don't know what's ahead of you, but your creator does. And when you're younger, you probably don't think about Christianity or anything. You don't think about Christ. You don't think about God, perhaps. Even though most of us, have discovered, have grown up with some sort of nana, somebody in our family had some sort of, they was like the staple for spirituality, whether it was just through church or you just had someone with rosaries and always praying. Auntie, grandma, there's always someone in everyone's family that is like literally there to go to for spirituality. But we choose, even from a younger stance, if we're going to make that prominent in our own lives. And now that we're older and we have children of our own, we have to decide if we are going to teach them about spirituality. And we're going to teach them not the way that we were told necessarily, because that information probably could stand some updating in our now. If I can't think of a better time to get in tune with your creator, because it's just going to keep you sane. It's going to allow you to have that faith until you don't need faith anymore, because trust replaced faith. If you know how long you've been alive and the road that you were on once upon a time, I'm sure you've gone through many things that look like chaos and friction and upheaval. Yet here you are. You are here. It's a brand new day. You are alive to tell the story. You have to know that that's not of your doing. You have to know that you do have a default setting for support. God has placed the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, inside of each and every one of us. So that makes it, whatever goes on, bearable. Even when it feels like on a human level, like I can't bear, that's not true. Alone, yes, but with your support system, when you lean on God, that weight is lifted off of your shoulders. It doesn't remove like a magic wand. Okay, so the problem I had no longer is there. That will inevitably show up. But remember, it's His will, not yours. And every single thing that you encounter in life, every single ordeal, it's brought about because it's either going to be for your greater good in that moment or down the line. And of course, ultimately, everything is for His good. Now, you may not agree with that. I know it may seem like, well, why? Why would God choose this for me? What good could possibly come out of it? You got to stay the course to find out. You have to stay the course to find out. There is a reason why all of these things are showing up, even though they don't feel good. And just like this post with this young lady has said, when you know from whence you came, when you know your who, it allows you to endure, even though you don't agree or you may not understand why that's happening. That helps you keep your perspective. And when things are going on that are awry and you feel like they're out of your control, again, you can turn to a human being. You can turn to uh, meditating or journaling or taking a walk in nature. There are many outlets that you can attach yourself to that will bring you to a center of peace, which allows spirit to speak to you. A lot of times we are so muddled with problems, and we don't feel good about what's happening. So these things keep us distracted and we can't see the solution. We can't hear God, that nudge. We can't be in alignment with what God is actually planning and preparing us for. It's oftentimes the very thing, if not greater, what we've been asking for. But you can't find that. You can't hear that or see it because you haven't found your center peace. You have to allow peace in your life, especially when things are the opposite everywhere else. I think that would make you hungry for peace. I think that would make you hungry for a solution because you know 10 times over what the problems are. There's no need to continuously play that tape every single day because that does not serve you. And God certainly looks at you like you need to remember that I am here no matter what you go through. And I like to akin situations that aren't the most positive, and I'm being mild when I say this. I like to akin the situations that are causing you grief or turmoil to being in the rain without an umbrella, right? That's what life is like when you aren't paying attention to your creator, when you aren't paying attention to yourself and you're not allowing yourself to lean on God and to trust the spirit. It's like being in the rain all the time without the umbrella. Now, when you are acknowledging spirit, you are acknowledging your creator and you are allowing yourself to bring yourself to him so he can be more effective and more connected to you, can feel his presence. It's still going to rain, but you have an umbrella. That's how I like to see it. The rain is not going to stop. It's going to rain when it's going to rain. But wouldn't you like to know at least you have an umbrella, you have a covering? That is what your relationship with God is. It is a covering. Things are still going to go on, but you will be protected. You will be protected with that umbrella while it rains. So I wanted, despite the fact that I don't feel absolutely my best today because of my allergies, I wanted to still take time out today to bring you this value, to bring you this awareness. No matter what's going on in your life, no matter where you are, you can, with your free will, choose what you are going to focus upon going forward. You could continuously look at all of the things that are wrong, that you aren't happy with, and continue with those results. Or you can allow yourself to reset your vision, to look ahead of you with new eyes, to trust in your spirit. It's there. It's not something you have to ship and send away for. It's already there. You focusing upon yourself will allow you to see and feel that presence. It will allow things in your world to start making a different kind of sense because you already feel like things just don't make sense. You don't understand the why, but you are not understanding the who, which is the heart of the matter. Focusing on yourself allows you to develop a bond with your creator. Then things start to shape up very differently, in your world. So I wanted to bring you these things today, and I want to know how you are. How are you doing today? Mind Over Peabody, how are you today? DJ Dispatch, how are you feeling today? How are you so far? It's a brand new day. It's Thursday. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to know how you're getting along. Now, how are you doing in your day today? How do you feel? We've been discussing some things for the last few days, and I'm sure it didn't generate all positive feelings, although my attempt to shift your thinking, which takes some time. It takes some leveling and some honesty. You have to be honest with yourself. If you are still in the phases of I just want to complain and I'm not ready to change anything about myself, you have to be honest about that. That's okay. You're not ready. When you are, lots of things will shift up differently for you. There'll be a shift inside of you that will make you very aware of what's going on. You will look at things with new eyes. You will have a lighter load because you realize that, wow, I've been carrying this, some things we've been carrying inside of us since childhood. And we're now well into adulthood. It doesn't serve us to do that. We must be able to allow peace. We must allow spirit to guide us. Spirit does not guide you into an inferno, into a furnace unnecessarily. I mean, sometimes that does happen. It's going to feel like that, but please trust in that process that you will be bright, new, and shiny once you emerge, if that makes sense to you. So, some scriptures that I wanted to share with you to go along with this gentleness that I am providing for you today. I want you to know you are not alone in this. Please, I am a parent too. There is hope, okay? There's hope. And I want you to focus on being hopeful, being of good faith, and knowing that you are not alone. Maybe it's been a long time since you've prayed. That's okay. You can start right here today. God doesn't look at you and say, well, you haven't prayed in 6 years. Why should I listen? Do you even know how to pray? That's human talk. God does not see you in that way. He is delighted when you connect with him. Remember, God always wants that relationship, that rapport with you. He wants to be your go to for every sorted thing. Where you get your nails done, if you get your eyebrows done, what you wear, what you eat, where you live, where you work, how often you work. He is concerned about every single facet of your life and he wants you to connect to him. So if you feel like your life has been chaotic, if you feel like you're being the best person you could possibly be, but for some reason you aren't met with proper companionship or you're not having healthy relationships, perhaps here is a place to start. Have you built your relationship? Have you developed it? Have you paid any attention to the relationship you have with your creator? Maybe if you start there, everything else will flow so much differently. How could it not? There isn't any, I can't think of one thing off the top of my head that could possibly go wrong by you connecting to your higher power. You are strengthened, and so is everything else thereafter. So maybe it's time that you connect with yourself in a way that showcases the actual powers that are within you. So your life can, you can live a life that's more fulfilling to you, perhaps. So, scripture time. So, here's the cool thing. Philippians 3, verse 3, excuse me, chapter 3 says, it's not that I have already reached this goal or have already been perfected, but I pursue it so that I may grab hold of it because Christ grabbed hold of me for just this purpose. Brothers and sisters, I myself don't think I've reached it, but I do this one thing. I forget about the things behind me and reach out for the things ahead of me. The goal I pursue is the prize of God's upward call in Christ Jesus. So, Philippians 3, chapter 3, verse 12. The reason why I think that that's cool to focus upon is because here is a human being that says, I do not have it all. I do not pretend to be perfect. I am learning every single day, just like the rest of us out here. But here's the thing. It's not that I'm not aware of how things don't go well sometimes or that life shows up in a way that doesn't make us feel good. But I know because of my seeking for Christ to walk with him, to learn with him, to be a part of the greatest lesson of all, which is to be loving to one another. I know that if I focus upon what's ahead of me, that serves me way greater than me looking at what's behind me. So I thought that that's relevant because oftentimes that is the very world that we live in. We are consistently looking behind us instead of reaching for what's in front of us. The past is just that. It has already occurred. There isn't anything that we can do about it. And thinking about it 100,000 times, mulling it over, allowing that tape in our minds to play over and over again doesn't change anything. It doesn't reverse the impact or the effects. Nothing changes on that level, except for now, physically, mentally, and spiritually, we are draining ourselves. Reach for what is ahead of you. Be more interested in that upward call. Be more interested in seeking relationship with your creator because that is the one that's going to feed and nourish you. You are not doing that alone. Every single thing that has afforded you've been afforded in life has been because God has allowed that. Even the things that suck, There is a greater purpose for it. You turning your eyes toward that and Him will allow you to see it over a period of time. You have to trust in that because He's there the entire time. Remember, I gave you the example about raining and having no umbrella. It can feel like that when you feel like and that's where the struggle comes in. You feel, and you're angry by that because you're just like, why? Life is so crappy. Why does it have to be like that? I'm always going to be alone. I will always struggle. No one is ever going to be good to me the way that I'm good to them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's tons of language that you can have every single day, but really, is that what you want? Do you want to feel that way? God will tell you that's not His truth. Read His book. God will tell you what the truth of the matter is. He will tell you refocus on what is most important to you. Focus on what is healthy for you. That language is not healthy for you. Some of your practices are not healthy for you. We discussed those yesterday. When you sleep, when you're able to sleep, how much of it you get, what you eat, these are things you can control. You can control your attention to anything. I would hope the things that you are giving your attention to is serving you. It is uplifting you. Maybe you don't want to read the Bible. Cool, no problem. However, you decide to bond with your Creator is entirely up to you. I am just encouraging you to seek that because that is the epicenter of everything else. That is going to give you your peace. That is going to give you your ease. That is going to settle you and ground you and keep you stable. Of course, you will shape up to be better because of that relationship. There's no way you could do that without tuning into yourself. So it's a win win. You tune into yourself, you discover your creator. Win win. Win. This is uplifting. This is new eyes, new vision, new outcomes. Allow this relationship to build. It's definitely going to serve you way more. And I mean, it's going to serve you, period, but I mean, way, way, way more than the attitudes that you perhaps have been keeping with yourselves. The languages that you perhaps have been keeping with yourselves that don't promote your well being. They keep you stuck and held down, and that is not God-like. There's nothing about God that says, and you just stay in the dirt. There's nothing written that says that will agree with you on that. God does not see you in that way. There is plenty of purpose He has created you for. You must believe that and stay tuned into it. Stay connected to that truth. That will make everything else that isn't true fall away. And that is what you want. Some time ago, we were discussing in some of our lives, we have realized while we're moving forward, there are people who aren't coming with us. We discovered that people are leaving, they're falling off like flies for seemingly reasons that don't even make sense to us. I don't understand why this happened. Because it's time for you to move forward in a way that's beneficial to you. God is clearing your path, so He is delivering you a direct path to Him so you can live life in abundance. Because He is watching everything that you do. He is understanding and receptive to your cries and you seeking more. You want healthy, loving relationships, yet oftentimes we don't have that in our lives. We just have people. That doesn't serve us. Maybe we do need to be alone for some time so we can actually cultivate ourselves, so we can be healthier, so we can be better individuals and therefore better partners and friends and parents. Absolutely. You're not going to be able to do that if you're focusing on everything that's going on social media. You're not eating properly. Your sleep is poor. Your mindset needs updating. Your outlook is poor, and you begin to understand why certain things aren't working well for you because it's time for you to update you, connect with your creator. Understand that you have a built-in system that is designed to see you succeed and wants for you to be abundant with your well-being. If you know another person on earth that has that plan for you, please connect with them as well. But as far as I can tell, most human beings don't operate on that wavelength, but God always does. Things show up and they may cause turmoil. They may make you feel out of control and you hate it. But when you think about the love that God has for you, that never changes. People, yes, they are fickle as the day is long. Today they love you, tomorrow is something different. It was all good just a week ago, right? And now it's different. God does not do that. So it serves you to focus upon what is serving you. It serves you to focus upon what is most important to you, which may not be what was important to you last week, last year, or 10 years ago. It's time to update you so you can show up in a way that is bountiful for everyone, is what I'm saying. So, with that being said, I will give you one more and then we will go. I hope that just refocusing your energy just for a little bit will allow you some ease. There's nothing like clarity because oftentimes we don't have it. We think we know what's going on, but oftentimes we don't. If we think we know what's going on, it's because we're relying on a belief system that we've had probably since we were small children. But if you were in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, I think it's something to consider. It may be very well time to be open to new possibilities. Be open to new outcomes, to develop a different way of living and being that is deserving of your worthiness because you are worthy. You are worthy. Never mind what anybody else has said. No matter what situation shows up, you have a God that says, I got you. Even while you're going through these things, he's like, I got you. I see you. I hear you. What would you like to do instead of going to this person or beating your head against the wall or showing anger and you acting out or you're closing yourself off because you're hurt and now you don't want to open up to anyone again? All of these things are natural human instincts and impulses that go on with situations that we feel are unfair. As human, God understands that. But we are human beings, ladies and gentlemen. It is a compound word. You are human. You also have spirit that is inside of this humanness. The goal is to work together, to merge, so you have harmony within yourselves. Folks, when you have that, life is very different. You don't feel like you're fighting all of the time. You don't feel like you're struggling. You don't feel life is unfair. You don't feel like you're being treated unkindly. Life is very different for you when you start to adopt a different way of looking at yourself, when you tune into yourself, when you develop the relationship with yourself that is always, always needed and warranted. You allow yourself to connect to spirit, which is what your spirit wants to do. It wants to be with you so you can have that ease, that clarity, that guidance. Because you certainly alone cannot do it. You can't. And because you cannot doesn't mean you should try harder. It doesn't mean you're failing when you don't do well with something. God knows as a human, you're not going to be able to accomplish not being angry, not crying, not feeling suicidal, not feeling like you want to be homicidal. It's tons of emotions that God understands. And to try to figure out and sift and sort what you can do with things that show up as problems or challenges and difficulties, he knows you're not going to be able to do that every single time. He doesn't want you to do it any of the time. Those things show up so you can lean on him. With that Holy Spirit, you are able to achieve what humans know to be unachievable. You can't do it alone. God didn't make you so you just fend for yourself. That is a personal choice. I want you to use your choices, ladies and gentlemen. Use your choices and start focusing on what is most important in your lives. Update your belief systems. Check in with yourself to make sure that you are operating on a wavelength that actually serves you, that you feel good about. Don't you want to feel good? You want healthy interactions and positive relationships. You want to be a better partner, a better friend, a better brother or sister. You do. You want healthy, meaningful relationships. You want to live a healthier, meaningful life. And you are certainly entitled to that. It's all in your decision making. What will you do with your free will, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm asking. Now that you know, because once you know, you can't unknow something. You cannot unlearn something. You could choose to ignore it. That's entirely up to you. But you can no longer say, well, I didn't know that. I am telling you. I am telling you, and it's not just my word. I am backing it up with scripture today, ladies and gentlemen. So it serves you to trust God in every single area of your life, not just the big areas or the small ones. The size is not important. Every single aspect of your world, God is concerned with, and He awaits you to connect with Him. Choose what you will. Just know your decision making is a direct impact on your well being. I think once you look at life in that way, it helps you make better decisions for yourselves. Every decision you make, every single one, impacts your future, your planning. Think of your decision making as plans. Once you decide something, that's what it is. So you are planning every day, all day long. But what are you focusing upon? What influences are you under that are affording you to make these decisions that will be impacting to your present as well as your future? It's something to think about. You are in the driver's seat, ladies and gentlemen. You always are. What road will you choose? What road will you choose for yourself? Something to think about. Now, as we proceed further, my heart goes out to each and every one of you. It does. Not just because we're talking about co parenting, but because I feel like you may not know that you're being supported. You may not know that there's people out here who care about you. And I don't have to know you personally. I didn't have to grow up with you or be in your neighborhood or go to school with you to have this relationship, to have this rapport. I know that there are many of us out here in the world that don't have a place that they can express themselves, or they don't feel like their voice matters. That's not true. I'm here to tell you, you have the opportunity to plug yourselves in here or a host of other beautiful, bountiful people who are out there doing the same kind of thing that I'm doing and welcoming you to my community. Hello, my name is Essence. I'm a different kind of relationship coach. My primary focus is on self relationships, the relationship you have with yourself. From that, every other thing flows. By tuning into yourself, you are affording the greatest relationship of all, and that is one with your Creator. If you have not done that, perhaps it's something to think about. Once upon a time, I did not speak this language. I too was wayward and had many difficulties. I was angry. My relationships were in the toilet or just they didn't exist really at all. I had lots of pain. And no, it wasn't a wand overnight that I just became a completely different person. It was my attention to what was most important. I started paying attention to me because I know I could have just continued to look at everyone else and blame everyone else. But the reality was that it was just me. I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, it's just me. What do I want to do? And if I no longer want to live this life, which I didn't, and if I was seeking change, which I was, I thought it just made sense to begin with myself because that is what I had. It was just me. So I did. And that first decision paved the way for hundreds and thousands of others. Yes, it took years to get to a place where I can speak aloud in front of folks, sharing my experiences, wanting to be of service to others. Can't do that when you don't feel good about yourself. You can't do that when you're not healthy, if you're not balanced and you're not grounded. If you don't know the truth of who you are, it makes life very, very unbearable. And that's how I felt. And so I started with me. And day by day, bit by bit, things started to lift. I no longer felt beat up. I no longer felt misunderstood. I no longer felt so angry with everyone and everything. I removed, not even I, excuse me, what was removed from me was I was uplifted. I did. I used to feel so heavy. And anger makes you feel like that. Anger keeps you down. There's no raising and thriving in anger. It just doesn't work that way. In other words, I too, I don't sit here and say this is what you should do, and if you don't, shame on you. I don't speak that way. That is not the truth of anything. The truth of the matter is that I am human just like everyone else. I experience things in life just like everyone else without having to share every sort of detail. There are many things that connect us as human beings. We just don't talk about it, we don't express it in fear of being judged, in fear of being labeled or feeling misunderstood. I'm offering a place for folks to come to remove that veil. Once upon a time, that may have been okay to hide, and you feel shameful about who you are, of what you've done. You don't get that here. Not at the morning stretch, not at Heart of the Matter coaching. This whole entire ordeal, the whole reason why I get up 5 days out of the week just to sit here with you and share these things with you is so you know that you have a place that you can come to express yourself. You will be valued, you will be respected, you will be treated with kindness. That is guaranteed. There aren't many guarantees in life, but I can guarantee you that. And so, with that being said, brothers and sisters, please look upon things that are actually going to serve you. Please focus upon things that uplift you. Please shift your attention to the most important relationship that there ever will be, and that is the road that begins with you. That road allows you to connect to greater, more bountiful things in life. It'll connect you to your purpose. If you're floating around there in life and not knowing why you're here, you're convinced that you don't have purpose because you believe you're such an awful person, that's not true. You aren't. You are always worthy. You are always of value. God has said so. If you don't believe me, turn to your book. It's out there. I'm not hoarding it for myself, folks. This is free information that any any human being can attach themselves to, along with a host of other useful tools that will allow you to narrow your focus so you can actually see the abundance that life affords you. You will begin looking at life in a whole new way. Trust me. I am living proof. So, I want you to go forward today, wherever you may be, whatever it is that you may be doing. I am sending you great, loving energy. I am allowing you to be present to the goodness that is you. And when I say allow, I just mean I'm serving as a reminder. That's all. I'm reminding you that you are good, that you are of value, that you are worthy. And I express great concern and affection for you. God willing, we will be here again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Freestyle Friday. I can't wait. We will be celebrating the goodness that is you, which we do every single day. But Freestyle Friday is the one day that we could just kind of kick back and just relax in the fact that we have done more than enough. It's a whole week, and we've been doing and moving and speaking and shifting and thinking of new ways to be present for our better selves. And Freestyle Friday reminds us of we've been doing the good work. We have been in tune with ourselves, and that's worth celebrating. So, as a takeaway today, God is with you, ladies and gentlemen, in everything that you do. And I support you. You have my support. I know wherever you may be, you may not feel like that because I'm not physically there. That's okay. If you would like to set some one on one time with me, you are able to do so. Please go to my page and click book now. For those who are here with me for YouTube as well as Facebook, click book now. I offer free consultations. We can talk. Let's get to know one another. Tell me what's going on with you, and I will provide the best value for whatever it is that's going on in your world. You know that you have a person here who is honest and who cares for you as well as your well being. So go forward, ladies and gentlemen. Know that you are loved. And I can't wait to get with you again tomorrow for Freestyle Friday. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait. Enjoy your day, folks, because you are deserving. You are deserving. You are deserving. Tell yourself this truth. You are deserving because you are. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen. And